So this is going to be a very strange video, because normally we get these kinds of things from North American sources, right? When we hear about trade ideas, we hear about proposals, we hear about rejected trades, it's almost always a Friedman or a Saravalli or a Merrick or something going out there and talking about it, but instead, we are going over to Slovakia. Because today we are going over an update in regards to a player that we had talked about just a few days ago. It is Filip Mesar, Montreal Canadiens 2022 late first-round pick. Not the first-round pick in Juraj Slafkovsky, but Slafkovsky's buddy. And in the last video from 2 days ago, we had talked about how there are some really weird things going on with this player. How his attitude and his blaming of his teammates of this previous season's worth of play could have been seen as a big red flag, and how he didn't accept the invitation to go to development camp. There were a lot of things interesting with Filip Mesar, and not in a good way. And we had discussed this in the comment section below. A few people were kind of having their eyes opened. Okay, I didn't realize that Mesar was blaming his teammates in the OHL for not being able to keep up with his offense, or that kind of feels weird to hear out of a prospect, but at the same time, it's not the worst thing in the world. However, after this video was made, we did have ourselves some extra updates in regards to Mesar and how he may have actually been included in a rejected trade or two by Kent Hughes. Take a look at this article published on a Slovak website. This is Hokejka, I'm not too sure, hokejka.sk, hockey portal. This article was written and published by Andrea Strompova from 2 days ago, and I'll leave a link in the description if you want to read it yourself. I translated it from Slovak into English. Will Filip Mesar leave the Montreal Canadiens? The Habs have offered him in trades. Now, okay, that's not exactly what the article's title says when you translate it, but that's kind of the idea that's being sent out there. I'm just kind of changing some of the words so it's easier for everybody to follow along here. But if you read this article published on a Slovak hockey website, according to information circulating overseas, Filip Mesar was offered as part of a trade aimed at acquiring Rutger McGroarty from the Winnipeg Jets. However, in addition to the Slovak youngster, Montreal would also have to add a draft pick from the Panthers or Flames in 2025 and a young defenseman, perhaps Justin Barron or Jordan Harris. However, Winnipeg seems to be rejecting Kent Hughes' various offers for now. Okay, pause. Before we dive into that, let's just bring the bare bones idea to the forefront. What the hell? A Slovak hockey website is reporting that Kent Hughes has been offering Filip Mesar and a bunch of other stuff to Winnipeg for Rutger McGroarty? This is so weird on so many levels, but let's just dive into the details of the idea first. Filip Mesar getting included in a trade? Okay, that may not be the most surprising thing in the world when you consider the updates that we have seen about him thus far. And then when you talk about the idea of a Justin Barron being traded to Winnipeg for Rutger McGroarty, that makes sense too. We had talked about this in a video a few days ago. Morgan Barron, who is Justin Barron's brother, is on Winnipeg. So reuniting those guys seems like a no-brainer. Also for the Winnipeg Jets, them getting younger defensemen also is good. And you think about some of the other names, okay, Jordan Harris, he's been kind of tossed out there in trade rumors for a while. So all of the names here would make sense, but at the same time, we didn't hear about this kind of idea anywhere else until this Slovak hockey website went out there and posted about it. And you have yourselves different reactions from both sides. Now, before we go into the reactions, let's read the rest of this article just because it does provide some of the context here. The Canadiens' first-round pick in Filip Mesar played in the OJHL. No, it is just the OHL, Ontario Hockey League, for the Kitchener Rangers and scored 52 points in 45 games played, which is disappointing for a 20-year-old player. We did talk about this in the prior video as well. Despite the presence of stellar junior teammates on the team like Carson Repkov and Hunter Brustevich, Mesar was unable to get his game going, and the worst part of it all was when he decided to point at his teammates. When I was trying to create something, my teammates were there a little late, and that frustrated me, but I had to get over it, he had said in an interview with Slovak media. This frustration no doubt contributed to the tense atmosphere in his junior team. Mesar's situation became even more complicated when the Montreal Canadiens decided to return him to his junior club after a difficult stint with the Laval Rocket, even though they promised him a place in the farm team. Even though the organization explained to him that players like Nick Suzuki and Caulfield had not played at the NHL level yet at his age, Mesar had a hard time accepting this decision, and his behavior was also questioned. In addition to publicly criticizing his teammates, he turned down Kent Hughes' invitation to attend the Canadiens' development camp. This refusal was seen as a lack of professionalism and dedication. Filip Mesar is now at the bottom of the list of team prospects, with young talents like Hudson, Kapanen, Beck, Demidov, and Hage all potentially playing in the NHL soon. Okay, I do think some of those guys need a little bit longer to develop, but okay. Mesar will have to change his attitude if he wants to regain the trust of the organization. His potential trade could represent a new opportunity for him to prove his worth in a new environment, and his future in the NHL will depend on whether he can change his attitude. So normally, these kinds of articles, this sort of opinionated writing and kind of basing stuff off of facts that we hadn't really seen before, like, you'll see articles like these pop up, honestly, like on Facebook and stuff. Like, if this article was written in English and published on some sort of an English platform, I would have been like, okay, yeah, this isn't really worth making a video about. But because it's now being posted about on social media from Slovakia, we have people from that country writing about this prospect and saying that he's got a bad attitude. Like, that is so bizarre. So bizarre. And I think at this point, because this is the first time we have heard this trade idea pop up, Mesar getting sent over to Winnipeg for McGroarty, and the trade being rejected, like, because this is the first time we're seeing it, I have no idea how to respond. This is not like, oh, they saw it from an Elliot Friedman thing. No, this is a Slovak website saying that this circulated on North American soil. So it just sparks a lot more questions and a lot more ideas. I will say, when it comes to the trade itself, I can understand why this is sort of the offer. Like, I'm seeing Canadiens fans disagreeing with this idea, saying, oh, the Canadiens would be offering too much. And then I'm seeing Jets fans saying, oh yeah, look at that, the Canadiens are offering all their garbage. It's not going to work out in their team so far. Like, they're just taking all the scraps, you know? Filip Mesar's got these attitude problems. Justin Barron has not cracked the team yet. You've got Jordan Harris, whose position on the team is in jeopardy, and they're just sending all their extras away to Winnipeg to get a top prospect like Rutger McGroarty. So it is kind of funny to see the dichotomy there, both fan bases thinking that their team is getting the short end of the stick in this sort of a situation. Habs fans think they're overpaying, Winnipeg fans think the Habs are getting rid of their extra pieces, and nobody is happy at the end of the day. Because also, I mean, Canadiens fans, while they do see value in a guy like Rutger McGroarty, I think a lot of them as well don't really think that this kind of an attitude is worth bringing on to the team. Especially if the Montreal Canadiens have themselves a top six that's already solidified. You've got the Slafkovsky, Suzuki, and Caulfield line. You've got Doc, Newhook, and now Ivan Demidov. No, just kidding. He's probably not going to make the team right away. But there still are extra guys that you could say maybe could contend for that spot. I'm seeing people talk about Alex Barré-Boulet as a potential option. Gallagher is still there. You could maybe throw an Anderson in the top six. Who really knows? Is Rutger McGroarty good enough to overtake one of these guys in the middle of the top six? You could very well say, not yet. You know, like, he was good enough in the NCAA to justify giving a spot to at the NHL level, but I don't know if it's good enough. He needs to get that AHL time, even just a cup of coffee in the AHL, to show that he is worth playing in a pro hockey environment at this stage of his career. So ultimately, I don't know if this trade really is to be trusted, but at the same time, if we are seeing Slovak hockey publications going out there and saying it, then I don't know what to believe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this trade idea that was apparently rejected by the Winnipeg Jets. Rutger McGroarty in exchange for Filip Mesar, a Jordan Barron, a Justin Barron, or a Jordan Harris-like asset, and what do you think this means for both Winnipeg and Montreal? If you're a fan of the Habs, you're a fan of the Jets, would you make this trade? Would you make this happen? And do you like this idea in general? Or, if you wouldn't like this to go down, let me know your thoughts in the comment section as to why that is. The Slovak article we read will also be linked in the description, of course. It is Slovak, so you're going to have to translate it if you don't read Slovak. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.